When strength becomes a cage, lessons from a woman who finally put the cape down. I recently had the honor of sitting down with Miya Bryant, and I need to tell you something about her right up front. This woman is not just surviving, she is rewriting the entire script and what it means to be strong, soft, and whole all at once. She is a mother, a wife, an entrepreneur, a full time employee, and someone who has walked through loss, betrayal, and a daughter's cancer diagnosis without losing herself in the process. The way she is choosing to show up now, it is changing lives. It is giving Black women everywhere permission to finally exhale. Miya Bryant is living proof that you can put the cape down and still be powerful. You can cry and still be faithful. You can rest and still be purposeful. She is teaching an entire generation of women that softness is not surrender, it is sacred. So let me ask you something. How many of you have been called strong so many times that it started to feel like a sentence instead of a compliment? Yeah, me too. Because here's the thing about being labeled the strong Black woman, it sounds like praise, but it functions like a trap. It means you are not allowed to fall apart. It means your grief gets a 2 week expiration date. It means when your world is on fire, people hand you a bucket and tell you to keep going, keep praying, keep smiling. And whatever you do, do not let them see you cry. And we do it. We show up. We hold it together. We become the emotional infrastructure for everyone around us, the load bearing wall in every room we enter. And then one day we wake up and realize we have been holding our breath for 20 years. That is what Miya Bryant taught me, that the cape we have been wearing, it is not a symbol of power. It is a weight we were never meant to carry alone. Let me tell you about one of the women Miya shared with me during our conversation. A Black woman in her 40s, married, mother of four, working full time, running a side business, supporting her husband's dreams while quietly shelving her own. She is the person everyone calls when things fall apart. The one who shows up with a casserole, a prayer, and a plan, the emotional anchor for her entire family and friend circle. And then, in the span of what feels like a breath, she loses both parents, one to COVID, barely any time to grieve before her marriage hits a crisis, a betrayal that shakes the foundation of everything she thought was solid. And then, as if the universe decided she had not been tested enough, her oldest daughter is diagnosed with cancer. She wakes up every single day on fumes, expected to cook, show up at work, be present for the other kids, hold it all together for everyone else. And people keep telling her how strong she is. But here's what nobody asks: how are you really doing? Because strength, the way we have been taught to perform it, does not leave room for that question. Strength means you do not complain, you do not rest, you do not admit that you are one more crisis away from completely unraveling. For years, she wore the title Strong Like Armor, rewarded for being the one who never breaks, even as she swallowed her grief and fear. She believed falling apart would mean failing her family, her faith, and her identity as a Black woman. She thought if she stopped holding everything together, it would all collapse. But what she did not realize was that she was the one collapsing, slowly, quietly, invisibly. So, what did this woman do? She started naming her limits out loud. She told her husband and her children what she could and could not carry that day. She allowed herself to cry, to rest, to say no to non essential demands. She started therapy. She leaned into spiritual practices. She created small daily rituals, quiet time alone in the car, a solo walk, just to check in with her own mind and body. And you know what happened? Her home shifted. It stopped revolving around her silent sacrifice and became a team effort. Her family started to see her as a whole person, not a machine. She still faces heavy realities, but she is no longer abandoning herself to survive them. Her biggest milestone? it is invisible from the outside. She finally lets herself be held instead of only doing the holding. She cancels commitments without guilt. She skips a family event to rest. She admits to a close friend to send, I am not okay, and feels the world does not end. In her shift, it challenges the women around her, sisters, cousins, co workers. They start questioning how much of their strength is actually self neglect dressed up as praise. They begin having more honest conversations about therapy, burnout, and Black women deserving tenderness. That right there is what Miya Bryant calls releasing the cape. And it is one of the most radical acts of self love a Black woman can do. Now, let me tell you about another woman Mia introduced me to, a wife who stood beside her husband through every pivot, every dream, every career shift. She paused her own ambitions to see his take flight. On the outside, they are the couple everyone admires. Long marriage, beautiful kids, shared goals. But after years of prioritizing everyone else, she suspects her husband of infidelity. And this betrayal does not just hurt, it hits her sense of worth, her safety, her entire identity as the strong one who holds this family together. For years, she believed that a good wife absorbs the hurt, prays harder, never tells the full story of what happens behind closed doors. She confused loyalty with self erasure, staying quiet even when her spirit was exhausted. She thought that speaking up would mean she was not strong enough, not faithful enough, not committed enough. But silence was costing her everything, her peace, her joy, her sense of self. But this time, she drew a hard line. They entered counseling. She set emotional and physical boundaries. She reclaimed time and energy to focus on her own healing. She stopped pretending everything was fine, even if that meant others became uncomfortable with her truth. And here is what she learned: her softness, her tears, her anger, her confusion, none of that made her weak. It made her honest. And that honesty gave her the clarity to choose herself. Whatever direction the marriage ultimately takes, she is no longer operating from desperation or fear of being alone. She is operating from a place of self respect. And that is a different kind of strength altogether. One of her boldest milestones, speaking her story out loud, naming the betrayal, the pain, and the work it took to rebuild trust or walk away with her head high. She models a new kind of commitment, one that includes commitment to self. Her honesty helps other Black women in long term relationships question the narratives that say ride or die means suffer in silence. It opens a door for redefining partnership as a space where both people's mental health, boundaries, and dreams matter. Mia Bryant calls this redefining strength, and it is not about becoming hard or cold. It is about understanding that boundaries, softness, and vulnerability are not signs of weakness. They are acts of self protection and love. Now, let me share one more story because this one will break your heart and put it back together at the same time. A Black mother of four learns that her 26-year-old daughter has colon cancer. She is still grieving both parents, still managing work, marriage, and entrepreneurship. And now she becomes caregiver, advocate, driver, researcher, and emotional support, all in one body. The hospital rooms pile up, the appointments, the waiting rooms, the paperwork, and so do the unspoken expectations. Be strong for your daughter, be strong for the siblings, keep your job, keep the house running, do not fall apart. She feels terror, rage, exhaustion, and yet people keep telling her how strong she is instead of asking how she is really doing. This mother grew up seeing Black women powered through medical crises without talking about fear or trauma. She entered this season thinking she had to repeat that pattern. She thought showing emotion would mean she was weak, that needing help would mean she was failing. But she was drowning and nobody was asking if she could swim. So she made a decision. Her mental health is part of her daughter's care plan, not separate from it. She leans on community. She delegates rides, meals, and tasks. She accepts help without apology. She shares openly with trusted people when the fear feels suffocating. She creates boundaries with those who demand emotional access but do not offer real support. And the journey is still hard, still heartbreaking, but she is no longer moving through it alone or in denial of her own humanity. Her daughter witnesses a version of strength that includes tears, therapy, prayer, naps, frustration, and laughter in the same body. She celebrates small but powerful wins, saying, I need a break at the hospital, stepping outside to breathe instead of stuffing her panic, scheduling her own appointments and checkups even amid her daughter's battle. She models survival that does not require self destruction. Her example challenges families, churches, and communities to stop romanticizing the strong Black mama who never rests and start building real systems of support. It gives other caregivers permission to see their mental health as essential, not selfish. Miya Bryant reminded me that this is what protecting pieces of practice looks like. It is not selfish, it is sacred. So here's what I want you to hear today: you are not required to be the strong Black woman 24/7. It is human and holy to say, I am not okay, and ask for help. Your mental and emotional health are not extras, they are the foundation that allows you to show up for your children, your partner, your business, and your community. And boundaries, softness, vulnerability, those are radical acts of self protection and love, especially when life keeps hitting you with grief, betrayal, health crises, and everyone still expects you to perform. Miya Bryant is living proof that you can put the cape down and still be powerful. You can cry and still be faithful. You can rest and still be purposeful. So, what do you do with all of this? Let me give you three things you can do this week. First, do one bold act of softness. Admit one area of your life where you are not okay and share that honestly with at least one safe person this week. Not a performance, not a prayer request disguised as strength, just the truth. Because the truth is where healing begins. Second, set one new boundary that protects your mental health. Say no to a draining obligation. Limit access to your energy. Ask for specific help instead of pretending you do not need it, because your energy is not infinite and protecting it is not selfish. Third, schedule one concrete action for your emotional well being: therapy, a support group, journaling time, a regular rest ritual that no one is allowed to interrupt, because your healing deserves the same priority as everyone else's needs. Because here is the truth: the world does not need you to be strong all the time, it needs you to be whole. And wholeness requires softness, rest, boundaries, and the courage to say, I cannot carry this alone. Miya Bryant is teaching us that the soft girl era is not about giving up. It is about giving yourself permission to be human, to be held, to be honest, to be free. And that is not weakness, that is wisdom. So I am going to leave you with this. What if the strongest thing you ever did was admit you are tired? What if the bravest thing you ever said was, I need help? What if the most faithful thing you ever chose was to rest? Because God did not create you to be a machine. You were created to be loved, to be whole, to be soft, and to be free. So here is my challenge to you today: go home, look in the mirror, and ask yourself this question: what cape am I still wearing that I was never meant to carry? And then put it down. Not because you are weak, not because you are giving up, but because you deserve to live a life where your strength does not require your suffering, where your love does not cost you your peace, where your faith does not demand your silence. Put the cape down. The world will not fall apart, but you you just might finally start to heal. And when you do, when you choose softness over survival, rest over performance, boundaries over burnout, you will not just change your own life, you will give every woman watching you permission to do the same. That is the revolution Miya Bryant is leading. That is the movement we are building. And that is the life you deserve. So put the cape down, sis, and watch what happens when you finally choose you.